Well, we are back with our watch along session. New Zealand are on a roll here, and they are 314 for 8 after 47.2 overs. And with me is our group sports editor K. Srimas Rao with us. Hello, Srini sir, and also my colleague Akash.
Hello
Hi, Srini sir.
everyone.
Hi, Akash. Hello, hello. So, what do you guys make of this equation now? Bracewell has been in some fine touch.
Well, I think it's going to be India's game ultimately because the way they, made the comeback a few overs ago. I think it will go India's way because the ball and the run and the ball equation is the difference is quite big. They need, I think, 36 of 16 now.
Yeah,
So it's not going to be that easy, even if Bracewell is playing so well, but he might lack that backing at the end of the game because I
yeah.
think yeah, because 15 odd balls are remaining and the kind of backing he would need, I think he will miss that.
Yeah. And Srini sir, what's your take on this kind of a batting? After they were in a spot of bother, they were struggling. What a fine piece of batting from Brisbane. You're on mute, sir. Your mic is mute.
1 second. Yeah, it's a great knock from him, but
Yeah,
but I think I agree with Akash a little too less, and he's probably run out of. The rest of the squad has run out of steam, even if he's around.
yeah,
So might just fall short. But if that happens, I'm got to feel sorry for him. Uh, you
yeah,
know, um, 8 sixes, 12 boundaries, quite an effort out there.
yeah. And Siraj has been on fire once again. I mean, what a spell of bowling, picking up wickets at crucial stages. He's been doing that for almost 2-3 years now for India in Tests and ODIs. I mean, what do you have to say about how will you rate
You
that
s-
on a scale of 10?
you saw that last wicket of Andre
Yeah,
Shipley that he took.
yeah, yeah,
That the clean ball, the one that clean
yeah,
ball. You see, first of all, the crowd in Hyderabad is behind him, right?
yeah,
It's his
yeah,
posters everywhere.
yeah,
He's the Hyderabadi Mia out there.
yeah,
It's and see the energy that. Comes in his stride. This is what I think we were talking about at the start of the game.
yeah,
This energy, this wicket or no wicket. What excites me about this young man is the kind of energy with which he runs in, the kind of energy burst that he has.
yeah,
That speaks for itself. And it like kind of brings alive a spell in the game. So that's the
yeah.
best thing about him. And yeah, when it converts into wickets, then I mean, can't get better than that.
And so Kuldeep once again, proving his worth, picking important ones. He is there among the wickets. You know, how do you rate his role in this Indian setup? How important is he in this 11?
Batting. For me, Kuldeep, you're talking about Kuldeep or you're
Kuldeep,
talking about
Kuldeep, Kuldeep,
Kuldeep?
Kuldeep, Kuldeep. Yeah,
Kuldeep, though, see, we spoke about Kuldeep, a guy with a big heart. I mean, if you're looking at a wicket taking bowler in your 11 and with the kind of conditions that in play, like you cannot look beyond Kuldeep. I'm glad he's worked his way back, after being out or in and out of the setup, whichever way you'd like to look at it. But,
yeah,
after coming there, I think, okay, I don't think he still has the kind of confidence that a left arm spinner would probably need from the team management. I don't know what is the behind the scenes thing.
yeah,
Has he been told? Has he been told that kind of go out there, feel free to, kind of, well, it's okay if you get hit. It's okay if you
yeah,
go for runs. What kind of an attack way we are looking at, and in that, what kind of a component does Kuldeep brings to the table?
yeah,
So, if the coach or if the bowling coach or the captain are in his ear at any given point in time saying that we don't mind if you get hit for four sixes in an over, it's okay. We'll
Yeah.
wait till the fifth over until you get us that, one or two important breakthroughs in the middle order. What exactly are you looking from a bowler like Kuldeep? So
Yeah.
the clearer his mind is, the more it suits. This right now it does appear like he knows why he's in this 11, and
Yeah.
that's a good thing about yeah.
Yep. But I will come to Akash for this. Akash, what's your take on this kind of a bowling attack? You had runs, but you have leaked a lot of them. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, well, we have been. It's been a long time that we are talking about India's bowling, especially in death overs.
Yeah.
Last year the scenario was different when the T20 World Cup was around, but now things have changed because the format has changed and the focus is more on the 50 over cricket,
Yeah.
and this is a World Cup year. A few
Yeah.
months later, we will be heading into the World Cup. So I think, according to me, that thing remains because the start we have been getting, it's perfect. It's very much effective when it comes to, since Harding is bowling his full 10 overs, he is
Yeah.
also getting wickets. But
Yeah.
somewhere in the between of the game, you see the previous games as well, and in fact today also, since it's a 50-50 situation now. So as for going the situation, yes, there. Uh, are lots and I mean, there are chances of improvement. The team needs to go back to the drawing board and talk about those picking up wickets in those crucial situations
Yeah.
that could turn into game turner in the future.
Yeah. And someone who is giving us who was giving us almost all 10 overs and 4 overs in the T20Is is now going for runs. Hardik has gone for a lot of runs in this game, not going for runs, but he has gone for runs in this one. So is it a matter of concern, Shreen sir? I would come to you for that. Is it a matter of concern for the team management, or it's just that it's just the one bad game for the player?
I don't think the scenario was right today to check if you have 349 on board.
Yeah.
That's the kind of total that you're depending kind of trying to defend. And you look at the chase that happened.
Yeah.
Finn Allen and to a certain extent, and then Bracewell down the order. Everybody else was more or less relatively in check. So
Yeah.
it is Bracewell's innings that literally has taken these bowling figures for a walk, right? I don't know if it's the right place to check, and I don't even know right now if Hardik is bowling in full steam.
Yeah.
What kind of a workload he's putting on his back, when
Yeah.
he's running in.
Yeah.
Probably he's not even putting his 100% out there, and maybe when he knows that it's not required to the extent that it might be in
Yeah.
some other situations. So I don't think I guess it's a little too early to judge, or probably not the kind of game where you need to judge Hardik. Probably we need to wait. Probably in a chase, maybe sorry. I
Yeah.
mean, when the opposition is chasing a slightly lesser target, is
Yeah.
when we can assess this better.
Yeah. And if the opposition is, we have had this chat in the earlier I mean fixtures as well against Sri Lanka. They had that cushion of, a big score on the board, and they could, they could have well planned out the things if something has gone wrong. But as you talked about it, a lesser score, can that be a problem in the coming in one of those games, if the target that is given by the Indian batters is less, because this can be a cause of concern. Your two bowlers giving away runs at almost giving away at 10, and the other one, a strike bowler, giving it at 7.
Yeah, I mean, so as I said, right now, with a target of 349 to defend, the other team actually, like, kind of, let themselves lose. So look at someone like Bracewell. You
Yeah.
let go, and you kind of tried going out of the bowlers, and it worked. On a bad day, it might not work. I
Yeah.
don't see there was nothing much to gain from the wicket. I mean, this looks like a chasing track altogether.
Yeah.
If this batting lineup, Indian batting lineup, were to be chasing on this track, I think they would have gotten to 349. That's the kind of
Yeah.
track that they're playing on.
yeah,
And
yeah,
with the kind of batting lineup that they have, they bat almost Shardul Thakur. Right now they bat almost till number 8. And
yeah,
that's the kind of wicket. I don't think it's the kind of wicket to judge your attack. It's the
yeah,
kind of wicket where you judge your batting lineup.
yeah. And coming to you Akash, what do you make of this bowling performance? It's below par or it's okay, as Shrini sir said. You had it's kind of a chasing track.
Yeah, obviously, I totally agree with Srini sir because is hadn't been its chasing track, then Michael Bracewell coming down the order couldn't have scored this much of runs, and in fact, he got a perfect backing from Mitchell Santner. And since that partnership broke, now the momentum shifted to India's favor.
Yeah,
So it was a great track to to bat on, but the way our Indian bowlers pitched in and gave wickets, I mean picked up wickets, and I'm very much happy for Mohammad Siraj because he is playing in front of his home crowd. His family members are there in the
yeah,
stands, so
yeah,
it's pretty much encouraging, and at the same time it makes you feel good, because we have known his backstory,
yeah,
how he used to get inspired by his family members,
yeah,
and
yeah,
his mostly his father, though he had a previous a very good season. I mean, a series against Sri Lanka as well, where he picked up 9 wickets in 3 games. So
yeah,
yes, there are some positives as well, but still, Shini sir pointed out, Hardik Pandya's workload management and all those factors keeping in mind, there are still some points that need to be taken care of. But yeah, once again, it's pretty much early to judge this entire bowling lineup because
yeah.
there are still 3 games remaining in the series.
And coming to New Zealand, how an a good asset is Mitchell Santner. He picks up an important wicket, chips in with a half century, and what a partnership that has been. So how good is he as far as the all rounder performance or all rounder is concerned? He's turning out to be one for sure.
Well, I have not seen a playing 11, be it ODIs or T20s, when New Zealand take the risk of dropping or benching Michel Santner,
Yeah,
because he has that kind of all rounder. He and when he teams up with someone like a Ish Sodhi, the duo becomes more dangerous for any opposition. And
just
today
just
also
just
we
just for our viewers, Akash, just a sec, just for our viewers, cutting you down. New Zealand needed 20 from the last over, and they've hit a six on the first one. So the equation is down to 14 from five required with one wicket in hand. A, a brilliant match is going on right now. I'm just having that FOMO feeling right now with not being at the ground.
Yeah, exactly. And now, like we started our conversation, with declaring
Yeah,
India as the outright winner, but
yeah,
now the situation is hung to a balance, and I think it's going to be 50-50 situation because after that six, it's 14, I think, required of 5 balls.
yeah, yeah,
So let's see how the next couple of deliveries turns out. But yeah, as I was speaking, as you asked about Michel
yeah,
Sant,
yeah. Thanks.
he played a very good second fiddle along with Bracewell, and scoring a 50 at number 6 or number 7. It's a pretty big deal when you are chasing such a big total. So yeah, credit also goes to him. And in case if New Zealand, uh, takes out this game and wins, go 1-0 up in the series,
Yeah,
then a lot of credit has to be given to that all-rounder as well.
yeah, yeah. And Srini sir, I would come to you for that for this as well. I mean, what a guy. He first caps Virat Kohli and then scores a 57 odd. I mean, what an asset.
Oh yeah, Santner is across formats.
Across
Across
formats.
formats, he's been such a lovely guy to have, and if I were to, I don't know, I'm sorry about digressing a bit, but I think
Yeah,
what his test figures and test career
yeah,
rather is rather been very limited to the potential that he actually has.
yeah, yeah,
I think Mitchell Santner is a far bigger Test
mm,
cricketer than what we have seen of him so
yeah,
far. And yeah, across the performances, we saw what he did as the 2019 World Cup,
Yeah,
especially against India in that semi-final. And
yeah,
yeah, always been a valuable asset. And as you said, I remember reading this somewhere on one of the I don't know whose column it was. I forget where
yeah,
when Mitchell Santner made his debut for New Zealand,
yeah,
the common spoken thing about was, oh, they finally found a left arm bowler, left arm spinner who can turn the ball.
yeah.
So that was the kind of thing that was spoken about him. So yeah, great asset.
And just an update, it's an LBW appeal which has been given out. So just is
Ye-
you're just checking it once. Well, it seems to be out, and India have won this one by 12 runs. 12 runs odd. Final call, the official
Oh,
call still has to come, but yeah, we have won it. So very, very close contest. I mean, you can't really afford this, Srini sir. We can't really afford this kind of a bowling performance, considering it's a World Cup year.
I
And this,
I agree with you, but
yeah,
I think when you defend a total of 349 runs,
yeah,
that's what happens. And
yeah,
early on, the pressure that you put, and you tend to get carried away. What kind of
yeah,
the term, that word I keep forgetting all the time,
yeah.
workload
Management.
management. But Akash reminded me of that term just a while back. That's everything. So
Yeah,
and by the way, you don't know what this very attack would have been like if Umran Malik would have been there in this attack.
yeah, yeah,
The same attack. Just put
yeah.
Umran Malik there. Or just put a Jasprit Bumrah there. See how those 10 overs prove to be. Right? And then you
But
see
so
how.
yeah, but my concern with Umran is in this kind of a condition, he might go expensive. This has happened a couple of times. The batters do take advantage of his pace and hit you for a 20 odd or a 25 odd in an over. So this can be a concern. So my point is, we have in the last four games there have been instances where we have given away runs of more than 300 runs while the opponents were chasing a big target. It happened with Sri Lanka as well when Shanaka got that 100. So that's a bit of a concern which needs to be taken care of, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's see that way. If you go to see, it's playing white ball cricket in India. It's apropos whether it's a T20 or a one day or it's a lottery.
Yeah,
It's like conditions are right for batting. What we heard at the start of this game when the India elected to bat first. India decided to bat first, and
yeah,
what did you hear from the New Zealand captain saying that, yeah, I mean, we would have anyways preferred chasing under lights here,
yeah,
right? Look at the confidence there with which kind of
mm,
the whole idea was firm in their mind. So on these kind of tracks, defending does really become a problem. You can't
yeah,
blame the bowlers. The ball is sweaty. Kind of it's difficult to grip the ball. All sorts of problems, and with the T20 mindset ruling.
yeah,
With that kind of a mindset, players going into the game,
yeah,
sky's the limit in terms of how you want to approach. Power play, no power play, doesn't matter.
yeah,
So you really can't blame the bowlers here.
yeah. And coming to you, Akash, what do you make of this win? Giving away 300 plus runs twice in the span of four games.
Yeah, actually, I have some, mixed feelings kind of thing because, like as we have been speaking about this, that this is a World Cup year, we are going
Yeah,
to face, world class teams at home. Now we have just outsmarted Sri Lanka 3-0, and now
mm,
we are facing New Zealand, whom we
yeah,
lost to in the previous World Cup semi-final, and
yeah,
now when we are facing them at home, and we are getting these kind of close finishes in a game where one of our batters has scored double hundred. So
yeah,
that kind of, you call it anything, be it a batsman show, or bowlers leaking runs. But going forward, what we need to think that these kind of challenges we are going to face when we will exactly in the playing the ICC tournament a couple of not couple but a few months later. And this one thing also I want to raise a question to Srini sir here.
yeah,
Like Shini sir, you might I know, I'm sure you have followed the 2011 World Cup as well. It's been a more than a decade. and the ICC trophy is coming. The that conduct is coming back to our country as well. Since then, in all these past years, things have changed a lot. So what kind of, what comparison would you draw between the scenarios? Like we saw today's game getting this close, more than 700 runs, I think, getting being scored in a 50 over match. So and what I can remember, in back in 2011, the high score affairs were very less often seen, but now it's going to be a common thing. So what's your take on that? I mean, I just want to understand the difference between the scenarios, because it has been a long time between the 2011 World Cup and now it's 2023, almost 11 12 years gap.
Okay, see, not just 2011, Akash. This goes beyond 2011. Even in the decade before the World Cup, if you see, 325 plus, 330 plus runs had on the board, with teams batting either first or teams chasing, had become a common instance. I mean, it wasn't really a surprise. I mean, I remember as far as back in, India's tour of Pakistan in 2004, when, in subcontinent conditions, if you look at some of the matches,
Yeah,
where 350 score plus scores were absolutely becoming normal across the series, and since then it has been a phenomenon. What has happened now is that a little more, the frequency is kind of, getting, kind of, you're seeing more of these things
yeah,
happening, and I think that is because of the advent of T20. Now, this has got nothing to do with conditions and blah blah blah. No, it's the mindset. It's the mindset of a cricketer to not waste a ball. A cricketer's genuinely changing psychological state, where, a dot ball is seen as a crime.
yeah,
It's almost like, oh God, people are watching me on the screen. Right from when you're a 20-year-old, 22-year-old, you are in focus, and what has IPL give you is, IPL puts you in front of television screens across millions of people watching you live on prime time television, and you suddenly find yourself to be this hero under lights wielding a bat, and you
yeah,
feel that whole onus in you, and you know that playing a dot ball is a crime, and these number of people who are watching me are going to judge me for each dot ball that I play. Now that mindset is creeping in across formats.
yeah,
Okay. Because see, it's not like, these are young men. I mean, it's not like, you're going to learn everything overnight, right? It takes time to learn, it takes time for you to understand certain things. So initially what happens is, this is the kind of mindset, once you cultivate as a batsman, this is the kind of mindset that tends to continue, you know. Okay, in test you might be a little more cautious, but between T20 and one day cricket, that line is too thin, and it begins to blur. And I
yeah,
think it's the mindset which is seeing us helping us watch more of these instances of 300, 330 plus scores, not just batting first and setting the target, but even in terms of how teams want to chase the
yeah,
target. in
yeah.
fact in fact, this World Cup in India, I will not be surprised if teams will find it easier chasing 330, 340 plus targets than setting them, because you really know how you want to pace your innings.
Yeah, because
I
answer it's also about the calculation. The T20 cricket has made you calculate those targets very,
Of
very
course.
easily. If you talk to any of the cricketers, they would say 350. It's about 7 per over, not 350. The target 7 per over, which is easy. If you have if you require 8 or 9 in the last five, that's fine. We can go ahead with that very easily. So that's the mindset of it. That T20 has certainly changed.
Yeah, I mean, you look at IPL, no? I mean, like, you have
Mm.
4, 5 wickets in hand, and you have 20 balls to play, and 69 runs to get on the board,
Yeah,
59 runs to get on the board. It
yeah,
doesn't seem it somehow looks like, okay. I mean, the match is still on, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah,
how long back would we think, like, 59 or 20 balls and this game is over, right? And
yeah.
how long we think before something like this spills into the 50 over format also.
Yeah.
Which, I'd like to digress and make a point here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine if this World Cup, this 50 over World Cup, was not happening in the Indian subcontinent. Okay.
Yeah.
And with the kind of narrative that T20 has been setting for itself. Okay.
Yeah.
I said this last year and I'll say this again. Nobody is sitting and watching a 7 hour game, 7.5 hour game live, other than those who are directly invested in the game, right?
Yeah.
Directly invested means people who are directly involved with this game
No.
by virtue of either playing or being involved with the Indian team affairs,
Mhm.
BCCI or the commentary team or whoever, New
Yeah.
Zealanders coming in. By virtue of being directly involved with the game, you are watching each and every ball of the 7 hour, 7.5 hour game, right?
Yeah.
Other
Yeah.
than that, nobody is watching an entire ODI. I
Yeah.
said this last year that the ODIs are reaching that bridge from where they will climb the point of no return. They are
Yeah.
heading there. Now, had the 2023 50 over World Cup not been there in India as scheduled, this buzz that we see around a 50 over format right now wouldn't have been there. Pick a
Yeah.
country, pick a country, pick any country, whether it's Australia, where we don't come across reach match the time zones, Australia or New Zealand, or anywhere in the West, whether it's West Indies or South Africa. That connect, that buzz would have completely gone missing. We are not able to realize this because this year's World Cup is in India.
Yeah.
You wait and watch what happens between now and the next 4 years leading
Yeah.
to the next 50 over World Cup. The
Yeah.
format is literally going to bleed and fade away to a large extent. I'm not saying it will disappear, but it's
Yeah.
going to bleed and fade away. I know people are sentimental about the format. I know people don't like the whole idea of anyone saying that there's no space. But you know what? Yes, we are looking at that kind of a scenario.
Yeah.
And what we are seeing now and what we are discussing, why I'm telling you this is because the mindset of a batsman that we are discussing here is emerging from, it's a very T20 mindset, right?
Yeah.
I think, Soumya, in 10 years from now, 7 years, 10 years from now, we are going to be discussing T10 and
Yeah.
how the T10 mindset is coming from T20,
Yeah.
you know? So it's going to get shorter and shorter. I mean, I
Yeah.
pray to God it doesn't get shorter than that, but I'm still saying that this is where it is headed. But
Probably,
you know,
probably the 200s from the Indian batters might be helpful for the ODI cricket. And with 200 thing, I would go back to Akash sir. And Akash, you were not there with us while we were discussing about Shubman Gill. How do you look at that kind of a knock, as the youngsters are getting in just in that brief career, 20 games and 10 games, and they're first scoring 200s. Ishan did it a month back. Now Shubman, how do you rate that?
Well, it's absolutely fantastic because I remember before the Sri Lanka series, the press conference of Rohit Sharma, he said, it's unfortunate to drop Ishan Kishan, but not to give fair amount
Yeah.
of chance to Shubman Gill is also not good
Yeah.
because the youngster has not done anything wrong. Now
Yeah.
then he gets 100 to end the series, and now he blasts a 200 and surpasses his own teammate, becomes the fastest male cricketer to get a 200 in ODI. It's such a
Yeah.
huge thing, and get doing it right away at the age of 23 is so massive because these kind of innings single-handedly overtakes everything, covers up every failure of
Yeah.
other batters. You see, Rohit Sharma was the second highest scorer of the game with
Yeah.
38 runs, and
Yeah.
the way Shubman Gill scored a 208, 209, he just stole the show. We stopped talking about the entire batting failure of the team just because of one single guy. So the kind of impact he left with his
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah.
And one thing for sure, what I have been, reading it throughout the social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, that it's I think the officially end of Shikhar Dhawan's career because you won't be seeing him anymore around this Indian ODI setup for the coming months, because the kind of impact Ishan Kishan and now Shubman Gill have left with their knocks. Scoring 200s within a matter of 2-3 weeks is not an easy job for any batter. In
Yeah,
fact, Sachin Tendulkar, after making his debut back even before we were born,
yeah,
he took so many years to reach that milestone, and once he reached there, he was uh, awarded this term. The term, he was made the god of cricket, and now these youngsters are toying with that record. So
yeah.
we can easily see. And I also think that somewhere that T20 mindset is working, and if it works in the betterment of the ODI format, then it will provide that longevity to this format as well.
And you just mentioned Shikhar Dhawan's name. I personally don't want that thing to happen anytime soon. I just want him to,
No,
just be
I
back,
just
just play in the IPL, score some, 700, 800 runs, and just be there in the reckoning. But sir, Shini sir, jokes apart, uh, how how do you see this? If Shikhar's, if Shikhar performs that ways, he stamps an authority again. Do you think he can still be still come back for the World Cup? Can he be can he be there in the consideration, in the reckoning after if there is a
Akash, Akash is giving the answer.
no, I mean, in fact,
yeah, probably that's a
my
fan speaking.
so many of so many people in my contact list often message me कि भाई अब शिखर धवन का क्या होगा, अब शिखर धवन का क्या होगा. So at that time I also go out of words ki ab how to describe this situation. A
Yeah,
few days back, in fact a couple of months back, this Shubman Gill was batting alongside Shikhar Dhawan, opening with him in overseas conditions, stitching a 100-run partnership for in almost every game, and now just in a matter of months the situation has changed
yeah,
upside down. Shikhar Dhawan has completely gone out of favor. These youngsters are making names, and in fact I also feel, you know after this World Cup or so, in fact, the position of Rohit Sharma is also going to be threatened. The impact is
No,
such.
so see, this is
yeah. Some
yeah.
yes,
So I'll add something here. You know
yeah,
that see, Akash talked about Rohit Sharma. Okay, we are just we human beings. As human beings, we are just emotional people, right? We
yeah,
hang on to things. The world doesn't. The world is very clear. What we tend to, because of we love the game. We form memories in our minds, and we find it hard to move on in life. But the fact remains that people come, people go, and there is a phase. There is a phase that begins. There is a phase that ends. I'll give you, here is a the way I see things. Rohit Sharma has to go out after the 2023 50 over World Cup is over. Okay, why? Why is because I don't see him in the running for the next World Cup. He
yeah,
can continue playing Test cricket, right? But by being in the continuing in the 50 over format, he's just blocking
yeah,
another place who could come cement and make the most of the next 5 years.
yeah,
Now we ourselves see how exactly are you going to. Now we have two openers, mind you. And by the way, a beautiful left and right combination. Both have
yeah,
double hundreds as openers
yes,
in the 50
yeah,
over format. What are you going to tell them?
yeah,
That you don't belong here, And imagine a man who cemented his place in the ODI team by virtue of scoring double hundreds will probably understand this more than anyone else. That
yeah,
if we have two guys, young fellows here, who have made their mark, and space has to
yeah,
be made for them, period. Yes, that said, between now and the upcoming World Cup, well, I blindly follow Rohit Sharma's diktat, and he's the leader of the pack, and that's how it stays. And this team follows Rohit all the way to kind of to the World Cup. After the World Cup, I think it's time to move on. Not just this thing. I think every 6 months from here, there will come a
Yeah.
phase that we will be
Yeah.
watching a lot of phases, changing phases in Indian cricket now.
And you rightly mentioned, so the span which between the two World Cups is huge, and you don't really see, as far as the age is concerned, Rohit's age is concerned, you can't really see him for the next ODI World Cup as well. He probably play the 2024 T20 World Cup, but making being there for the another ODI World Cup is totally out of reckoning. I mean, as far as the
Yeah,
age is concerned.
it'll take a toll,
Yeah.
Soumya. You look at, see, he's playing this series. Australia is coming here, which is most important. The
Yeah.
way I think, I don't see any reason why India should not qualify for the WTC final.
Yeah.
But having said that, you still have to play four test matches. And
Yeah.
four test matches, not just against any team, four test
It's
matches against
crazy.
Australia, and a hungry Australia, and an Australia coming here to seek revenge,
Yeah.
massive revenge,
Massive
right?
events.
So this kind of an Aussie team coming back here is going to take a toll on your body, because again, soon after that the IPL begins,
Yeah.
and after IPL you're straight away into the World Cup preparation. The mental and
Yeah.
physical toll that is going to take on your body, by the time this is over, you would have aged another year or two,
Yeah.
very naturally.
Yeah.
So it's not easy, and you're not getting any younger.
And you also have a WTC final, which is a high possibility, and then you also have an Asia Cup, which
Possibility, नहीं,
we
confirmation है.
yeah, confirmation. Yeah, yeah, we can,
We will play the
depend on our
WTC
team. Yeah,
finals.
so yeah, so we just hope we qualify with ease, and there are no tricky, situations as we generally encounter at times. So final words from this game. What's your take? I mean, both of you. What's your take from this game,
Akash, go ahead.
I
Akash?
was just, I was just reading out Rohit Sharma's comments from the post-match session.
Yeah,
He says the way he was batting and the way it came onto the bat nicely, it was clean ball striking. I think he's speaking about Shubman Gill.
yeah,
So going ahead, I see Shubman Gill very much cementing his place in the top of the order. But I'm a bit concerned about Ishan Kishan, because we saw him going berserk behind the opposition when he comes to open, and today when he comes in the middle order, he just loses his touch. So but again, it's just a matter of one game to judge anyone batting at any particular place. And yeah, since we have started with a 1-0 lead, I hope this lead continues. And now the next game is going
yes,
to be in a in Raipur, which the city is going to host the first ever international match, so the conditions will be something different.
yeah,
So let's see how these teams come up in the next game.
yeah. And she, sir, your remarks. I mean,
As for me, the point that Akash made about Ishan, well, I mean, middle order, let's give him a chance. It's not like he has a choice here. He has to, with
yeah,
Shubman and Rohit up there, we'll have to figure what is the
mm,
combination that works best. And he'll have to make most of the opportunity that is there in place for him.
yeah,
That said, the next game, in the run up to the next game, now I'm going to watch this series only for the attack. Now I'm
yeah,
going to watch this series only in terms of understanding what is the combination that is working, why is
yeah,
it working, what works best, in conditions like, when you're playing at home,
yeah,
and you'll be playing, obviously you'll be playing the World Cup at home. So I'm
yeah,
going to kind of, from an opposition perspective, I'm going to see how imperative it is to go in with a wicket taking bowler as opposed to a bowler who can probably be economical, and who are the kind of bowlers who I can like take some liberties with. Even if they go for a bit of runs, I'm willing to pursue with them, and kind of like I mentioned about Kuldeep, for instance. A
yeah,
guy who, like, kind of takes his liberties, and I continue to persist with him. And because I know that there is a Siraj at the end of the day, do
yeah,
and okay, when exactly is Jasprit Bumrah going to come back to the squad?
mm,
When Bumrah comes back to the squad, is he going to be the same bowler? If
yeah,
not, do I need to have a plan B in place? So this is not just about what we are watching on the field from the series perspective. I
mhm,
am thinking what is happening behind the scenes is as important as what is happening in front of our
yeah,
television screen. Now,
yeah.
this is a space that we need to watch carefully over the
Mm.
next couple of games.
So yeah, we are 1-0 up in the series. A hard fought win, but again, you expect those things from New Zealand. Sir, just one last thing. This has been the pattern of the Indian team. When you win the series, you just make changes and you may make experiments. But do you think same can be done with Kuldeep? If we won the next game, he's played three in the row. If we win the next game, he is probably there in the 11 in the next one. Should he be benched for the third one? If there is a win, if we take that unassailable lead,
Bench for who?
without
You're saying like if Chahal
for
is
rest it,
back
yeah,
and
yeah,
if
kind of
Chahal
rest
is
it.
back,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. If
Can we?
you have a plan, see, I'm saying if you have a plan in mind and if you want to
Yeah,
test something, why
yeah,
not?
yeah,
But then you need to have a plan in mind and you need to be working towards it. And at the end of the day, it all needs to move in a certain direction. Which direction
yeah,
is it? At the end of the day, it needs to be result oriented, right? When
yeah,
the time comes, you need to do the right thing. When the
yeah.
time comes, you can't be left gaping and saying, "Oh my God, now what do you do?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that, I think, uh, well, you want to drop Chahal and test, sorry, Kuldeep and test Chahal and Washington Sundar in one game. That combination, I don't know how it works,
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, like, you want to try out new things. Fair enough. I still think Washington Sundar is not such a bad guy to kind of go and give him a couple of more chances, because in a format like this, he can be very effective. I too have always seen him as a top order batsman in a format like
yeah,
this, right?
yeah, yeah,
So and yeah, and a very very useful all rounder.
yeah.
Provided he maintains his fitness, poor fellow, he's been
Yes.
extremely unlucky, but
Mm.
if he can maintain his fitness, then why not? He's a very, very useful guy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm okay with the whole idea of experimentation. But then Mr. Rahul Dravid has to be very clear in terms of how he wants to see this.
Well, thank you, Srini sir. Thank you, Akash, for your insights and updates, for your expert comments. We'll get back to you again for the next game. But as the news stands, India have taken the 1-0 lead in the series. They won the first game by 12 runs. They've defended that 350 target successfully eventually. So thank you, Srini sir. Thank you, Akash, for your time. It's
Thank
lovely
you so
having
much.
you.
Thank you. Thank
And you guys keep watching us, keep subscribing us, and follow us for all the cricketing live updates from all around the world. Thank you.